Hello everyone and welcome back to another One Deck Deep Dive, this time featuring a division that has gotten buffed quite a bit since it came out, the most in the latest patch, and that is the 4th UK Armored division. And this is now in a pretty interesting spot of just being a pretty interesting heavy mech spam division, with the buff to the chieftains lately coming in. Got a really nice new recon unit in as well, and let's have a look at what you got here. Logistics set. This is pretty standard, pretty solid. You get some sultans, you get some Saxons here. You can take the Saxons out and add a militia truck if you need more supply, because 2 more tank CVs here in the deck, so that is an option. I just want to have the fast Saxons if I need them, so that's why I keep them around here. And usually, so far in the games I've played, I haven't quite run out of supplies with the other supplies, so I rather play it like this. Infantry tab is a pretty good one for an armored division, like a really good one. The motorized rifles are fantastic. I really like the Saxons because they give you a smoke dispenser, and if you use them with other mechanized forces, like, you can kind of keep them around as a extra smoke round for your tanks or so. And it also allows your motorized rifles to get back in and move around or smoke them off from the enemy. So the Saxons are really nice. Normal rifles bring the law 80. Really good if you make it tight and make it a big mechanized fight in a town, and then have a couple of these around. The enemy can't bring their mechanized units in, and if they have weaker rocket launchers, then you can bring yours in and they can't bring theirs, so that is nice as well. Assault Pioneers coming around in the Bedford. The Scud is not bad either, with the double MG here for 15 points with smoke, but I want them a bit faster. So Assault Pioneers coming in with smoke, with Bedfords, and they have really good firepower for a shock troop as well, with the double light machine gun here, allowing them to deal decent amount of damage on the long ranges and the short ranges. And then we have the gun groups, which are really, really cheap, holding the side units together with their transport here that brings a Milan. A really, really cheap Milan. The MG allows it so that your gun group plus the MG can beat other smaller infantry squads on the side. And the Milan 1 is just a really cheap way of getting some ATGMs out and stunning the enemy, and really allows you to level up to a mechanized blob that shoots ATGMs quicker than anything. It's a super cheap kind of ATGM vehicle here. It has smoke and all, so the enemy has to be careful what it pushes into them, and for 30 points, that is fantastic. And then you get some even better Milans here with the Milan 2s in a Spartan that brings a Milan 2 as well. 10 points extra for the better ATGM here compared to these guys. Brings an MG and a smoke as well, so that is great too. So you can get out decent ATGMs quite quickly. The Milan 2 itself being quite nice to have as well. Artillery tab is fine. The big artillery guns of the M107 here, they can deal really good damage, and that is a nice addition as well to an armored deck like this, giving you potential to break stalemates with this, killing off enemy ATGM units and then just letting your tanks roll forward. The mortars, really nice for the smokes. Your tanks aren't always the best at long range, so getting some smoke walls up there can be quite helpful from time to time. Can be helpful with stunning down as well, and creating those town fight scenarios that I talked about, where the rifles and the mortar rifles really start to shine. Like, both of these are fantastic to push towns with, especially against other armored divisions where your tanks maybe fall a bit short. But your tank depth isn't bad either now. The chieftains now in a pretty competitive price point. The 10 points reduction is nice. They still have the classic disadvantages of low rate of fire, low speed. And the frontal armor is not the greatest, but it is a lot better than most other NATO tanks of their caliber, meaning that they can, for example, even tank a TOW 2. And that is a big, big advantage of the chieftain line. And the 19 penetration can one-shot IFVs quite quickly as well if you push a bit closer. Chieftain Mark 6 here, still also quite nice. Can tank a couple of RPGs if the enemy has smaller, like, weaker RPGs as well, like against the Polish or against the West Germans or against the Americans. He usually can push against infantry a bit nicer than with other NATO tanks as well with these. So that is pretty helpful as well. And the Chieftain Mark 11, solid range, solid accuracy, solid frontal armor. Just a good all-rounder tank, and now really for the 170 price point in a fair state as well. with 2 CV cards here to really enhance the plop. And then you have the AVRE, which is, for maps like Urban Frontlines or so, a really key unit because it can just one-tap enemy IV positions once it gets close enough, ATGM's positions, and also stun down enemy infantry to help out winning the infantry fights. So the Centurion AVREs can be really, really nice as well. The 55.1 is not that bad either. You can change that out against the Chieftain Mark 6. That's a bit of a flavor choice here. These are not the most cost-efficient units, and these are pretty cheap, can get you extra smoke, but they're really slow, and they don't one-shot anything, basically, with the 11 heat round, so against IVs and so on, can be a bit annoying, where the Chieftain Mark 6 can be a bit more reliable. Strikers, really solid on the flanks for long-range ATGM fire support, so that's why we're gonna use them. And if you have a couple of the FV432 Milans, then you can have them in front of this. The enemy will fire on those first, and then the string fire might get some hits. So enhancing ATGM duels can be pretty helpful with this as well. Recon Tap is fantastic. Was pretty good beforehand. The motorized scouts are fantastic infantry for 55 points. Good AT launcher. Decent firepower with double machine gun and 8 hit points, so that they win against other recon units quite reliably. Scouts, just your normal squads. And then they have a new unit, the Scimitar Spy class. And this has exceptional optics, meaning that your tank plop sees a lot more. And that is more important than the Fox in this deck, because you want to create a plop and you want to move it around. And if that plop starts seeing stuff, you can shoot at that quite quickly. And the Spy class absolutely enables that. So Scimitar Sky class, a really nice addition to this deck as well. And then the Lynx Chancellor, great for openers, great for moving around, figuring out where the enemy starts, and setting up the push in the right direction there. So really great recon helicopter as well. Good to keep an eye on the flanks as well. And often quite helpful to bait enemy planes into you as well. And in the AA tab, we have a really strong AA unit here with the Darkfire. The accuracy is the best in the game of any AA unit. And the ranges are fine as well. If you push it forward with your ground forces, you can shoot down helicopters quite often by the enemy being surprised by the range of this thing. But the more important part is a decent rate of fire with good anti-aircraft range. It's not great anti-aircraft range, but it's good anti-aircraft range, and you reliably get 2 missiles on target and get the kill there with this, and that is really, really helpful. And with one vet, the aim time goes down, the reload time goes a bit up, and the accuracy goes to really amazing levels. The Javelins, unfortunately, are still the weak point of this. Having a good manpads would push this a lot further, as helicopters are still a bit annoying to deal with, and the Javelin does only help a bit with that. Director up here, at least have good anti-helicopter range, and with the smoke can play a bit around it. And you really need them with your armored push to deal with helicopters, to also help out with planes. So the Darkfire is the key unit to shoot them down, because this has the lower accuracy and the lower aim time especially, so the enemy always gets the bomb drop before you start hitting them. But you still can retaliate nicely and often get a shot out so that the Darkfires can finish them off or so. And as I said, main reason is used against helicopters, and there the smoke can save them. If they don't hit and the enemy's missile is still flying, then that can be pretty helpful as well. Lynx Alarm, fine, as a really quick response helicopter for the sides as well, so that you can focus on your push, and then if the enemy tries to flank you, bring one of these around, or if you can kill the enemy AA, you can bring these around in the middle fight as well, and really make it awkward for the enemy as well. So, great anti-tank helicopter. Having decent numbers of those here can be quite nice as well. The normal Hellarm one with only the base tow, the penetration is just a bit too low. So, the Lynx Hellarm with the decent penetration during ATGMs it is. And then in the air tab, we have 2 Phantoms only, because the 2 AA Phantoms that is, because the HE and the cluster ones can help out with the Sky Flashes in air combat as well. And that is pretty helpful. Saves you a fighter card in the long run, usually, with the Darkfire enabling you to retaliate on enemy bombers, and the Phantoms often being able to bait enemies over your Darkfires as well. And if it really gets into the air spam, the Phantoms can help out. their bombing runs are pretty devastating as well. The cluster one, you can deactivate the clusters and just hit them with normal bombs, and then hit the second target with cluster if the enemy really runs out of air defenses, so that's a really strong thing to do as well. And then the Jaguar rocket is a great helicopter hunter because it has a main gun and has 2 AIM-9Ls, and that's a big issue for these here. They don't have... Well, the bombing ones have guns, but the fighter one doesn't, so the Jaguar here coming in clutch as an anti-helicopter unit and really priced correctly there as well. If you lose it, it doesn't matter all that much, and if you don't lose it, it's great. The rocket part of it is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. So that's a nice addition on top here. And that leaves the deck with a decent air tap here. So let's get 2 strengths and weaknesses. And starting with the strengths, it's just the pure cost efficiency of this deck still that got a lot better even now. And that you get cheaper infantry plus ATGM than other decks. You get pretty cheap mainline battle tanks of 12 throttle armor, cheaper than most other decks. You get cheap, cost-efficient recon armor. Or you get decently cheap long-range strong AA, and so on. So cost efficiency, first step. Second step, a second strong part about the deck, I believe, is the recon tab. This is a really nice recon tab for an armored division that can help you out quite a bit. And then the third one would be the just baseline good infantry for an armored deck as well. That really shines up. Weaknesses, lack of IFV. The lacks of IFVs with 20mm autocannons for sure comes in to shine from time to time in this. Second weakness is that you don't have any top-end tank for an armored division. Not amazing, like the Chieftain Mark 11 is okay nowadays, but it's even still below its T-72s, so compared to other nations' armored divisions, for the most part, you're ending up a bit on the weak end there with your top level that you can bring. And then the third weakness is the lack of forward deployment, and that the deck comes in a bit slow, so it comes in with a lot of force. Like, it doesn't deploy fast, but it has a lot of deployment, so it's still strong from minute 2 onwards, but it's not good in minute 1, because it doesn't reach as many places in minute 1 as other divisions that get a bit of forward deployment and so on can. Your recon can play against it. Your recon is especially good because of what it can spot for you now, with the spy class and all. If you want to play it faster, you can play it faster with the Fox and the Ferrets and so on, but you don't have any fast AA, so you don't really want to do that. You're gonna get pretty vulnerable there, so it's a bit annoying that a deck that usually wants to play the early game isn't that fast right at the beginning of the game, but you still can play the early game really nicely with the amount of just mechanized force that you get quicker on the bottom line than most other armored divisions, and just get a solid combined arms online that you can push forward with. And I had a good amount of success with this. Not amazing success. It's not blowing it out of the park, but I believe this deck is now in a solid B tier spot, and against some matchups, it is quite great, and I don't think it has any completely awful matchups anymore. So, yeah, this is where we're at, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye, and have a great day.